excited about the guest that we have today. So Mitch Jaffe, he's the CEO of Prep Cook. And Prep, Cook, Create, Connect, that's their slogan. I said earlier, which I'm sure, Mitch, I'm just going to have to apologize to you. This is probably not accurate. I call it a food accelerator.
I like that. I like that. That's a good badge. I'll take that.
Yeah, right. So, but with Mitch on the show today, I think we're going to get a lot of value out of this, and so I'm excited about it. Let me just tell you a little bit about Mitch, just formally. So, he's the Prep founder. He's CEO, CFO. Brings a very unique combination of analytical, business, and creative skills to the executive team there, but also just to the entrepreneurial community. Based out of Atlanta, he's run numerous, many successful turnkey commercial development projects, condominium developments, income property turnarounds, and he's a serial entrepreneur. He's been responsible for the construction and development of Prep's facility, which we're going to tell you more about, and the base of operations. In addition, he will lead Prep's executive team and use his vast experience running numerous businesses by acting as Prep's CFO. So let's talk about Mitch. Hey, first off, thanks for being on the show, brother.
No, thank you. I appreciate your time.
You know, one of the things we talk about, Mitch, is encouraging people to walk slowly through the crowds. And what that means is you never know who you're going to meet.
That's right.
And so normally, in the nature of my business, I get on an airplane, and I don't like to talk about what I do all the time, because as soon as you say you run an incubator, an accelerator, we love the fact, and we celebrate the fact everybody has an idea, but it doesn't mean that we want to talk about it for 2 hours on an airplane.
That's why I tell everybody. I sell shoes.
That's a mini hostage situation.
That's right. As Les says, that's why he tells people he sells shoes. And but look, it is, and but I'm glad that it was you or I turned around and said, hey, so what do you do for a living? And as you began to tell me about Prep, and I told you about Ideashares, it was kindred spirits, and we had a nice hour-long conversation, and then we both knew when to shut up and listen to music or whatever we had left to do. But that's the importance, of walking slowly through the crowds, because you never know when you're going to be sitting next to a Mitch Jaffe. And so, Mitch, thanks for being on the show.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about Prep. So what is Prep? Give me the elevator pitch there.
Sure. Prep is a facility that provides food entrepreneurs a launching pad for their business. Basically, three main industries that we serve. You've got your specialty food producers, and they could be either under the USDA or, in our case, Georgia Department of Agriculture. And that means anything you see on your shelf that you would buy at your Whole Foods, your Sprouts, your Publix, your Kroger, sauces, marinades, salts, ice cream, you name it, ginger ale, kombucha. It goes on and on. We have about 55 of those companies based out of our facility.
Wow, 55. So that's a lot more than just the last time when we talked. Yeah.
And then we also provide the infrastructure for the catering community. Your traditional caterers, a few of those, your traditional caterer that might deal with events like weddings and stuff, they're a little bit erratic, and their particular business plan is tough to fit into a facility where people steadily produce and work shoulder to shoulder. But under the word caterer, you have people that produce a certain amount of meals here every day to be delivered around the city of Atlanta, hot and cold, and they fall under the designation as a caterer.
Wow.
And then the third group of entrepreneurs that we deal with is the mobile food service. We're the largest food truck commissary in the South, and we currently have 27 food trucks based out of our facility. So we've created all these an environment for all these companies to come and limit their capital infusion, get a ton of services, get permit-ready facilities, don't get caught up in facility management, and their capital their capital they need to launch their business or to accelerate their business. A lot of companies come to us after being in business a year or two and want to go to the next level. So we have a host of other services that we provide, including we handle all their food and supply procurement, and we a lot of marketing initiatives that we drop in their lap.
Cool.
We also bring in a lot of third-party experts to come in and train these people and assist them.
Well, that's and sorry, that's one of the coolest things that I got out of this was, first off, very imaginative that you would start, and I'm not dumbing it down to this, but shared office space for people who prepare food. I mean, that's awesome. Because one of the biggest drawbacks to starting for those of you folks who are listening out there that want to create something in the food service world, whether it's a truck, restaurant, whatever, you're preparing ingredients or food on the go. You're preparing ingredients on a daily basis, and that space and also the codes that you have to keep right in order to be able to execute this is not really scalable, and sometimes is very cost prohibitive. And what you've done is you are helping to scale the local community of food service providers, and I thought that was cool. But then to put it into an incubator and accelerator construct where you are actually helping them build their businesses is really phenomenal. I mean, this is pretty disruptive. How is this disrupting the community in a good way, right? So because disruption is a good thing. How are you disrupting and changing the food industry?
Well, so for many years, your small entrepreneur, food entrepreneur that has an idea, sorry to give a very simplistic example. Somebody finds grandma's cookie recipe in the attic, thinks it's the greatest thing, but doesn't know how to get it to the store shelves. Previously, they would work in the shadows. They would bake out of their house. They would bake out of their church kitchen. They would maybe moonlight at a restaurant kitchen. None of those options are legal, by the way. Under the Department of Agriculture in our state and in many other states, it has to be produced in a very controlled environment with lots of food safety concerns, packaging approvals, and food handling is a big part of it. So how the ingredients are procured, how they're assembled, and then how the final product is taken to the store. So when the store, like your Whole Foods, wants to carry grandma's cookie, they want to make sure, first of all, it's being produced in a commercial kitchen. So prior to this, that entrepreneur kept hitting his head on the ceiling and didn't have a place to go, didn't know how to go from where he was now. He could probably go to your local farmer's market and maybe sell a few, start selling them to your friends, maybe some restaurant owners that he knew that didn't, really want, kept it in the gray area. But really, if you want a shot at being the next Chobani or the next Kind Bar or something of that scale, you have to start somewhere, and you have to start with compliance.
Yeah, that's great. Well, look, I think it's an incredible idea, and you're certainly, at 50 now, in the facility in your program.
We got 110 total companies out of here.
Wow, 110. Yeah. And so, you're changing the landscape of what's going on in Atlanta, and from knowing you a short time, I think we can all rest assured that you're going to be changing the landscape of what's happening across the country. And so we're excited to hear more about prep. But the serial entrepreneur that you are, we've got a few more questions for you here today that I think our listeners are going to be able to grab some value out of. So, folks, don't go away. We're going to be right back with Mitch Jaffe here on Ideashares Radio.
Ideashares Radio.
Hey, folks, this is Brian Church and Les Stouder from Ideashares Radio, and we just want to encourage you to take a look at Ideashares.com. If you've ever had an idea, whether the idea is service-based, whether it's intellectual, whether it's mechanical, it's electrical, or if it's even digital, if you've got an idea, we invite you to come to Ideashares.com, test that idea on the proprietary Ideasphere. We've got the Ideasphere Digital, Ideasphere Enterprise, and the original Ideasphere to test anything that you can come up with. And then you're going to get a 30-page SWOT analysis giving you strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and every bit of it is free. So go to Ideashares.com and test your idea today. Hey, folks, this is Brian Church, and we are excited to welcome our newest sponsor to Ideashares Radio, Waller, Lansden, Dortch, and Davis. Established in 1905, Waller has a history of representing entrepreneurs and industry-leading companies. Waller has developed a fast-track program that assists new and emerging companies with protecting their intellectual property, structuring fundraising, and avoiding legal problems that can prevent you from reaching your goals. To learn more about Waller, go to www.wallerlaw.com.
Ideashares Radio. Innovate on.
And welcome back to Ideashares Radio, America's airwave incubator for entrepreneurs, innovators, and intellectual property holders. Folks, we got Mitch Jaffe, not really in the house. He's calling in from Atlanta, so one of our sister cities. But, Mitch, thanks for sharing, with us the idea behind prep. Where did this come from, by the way? What was the context behind this when you started it?
I think like any idea that gains some steam, it comes from demand and solving a problem. And in our city and in many other cities that we want to expand to, there's a definite need to rein in what the food entrepreneur is going through as far as facilities, compliance,
right,
and support. So it was demand-driven. We identified the demand after about 2.5 years of research,
yeah,
and layered it in with the different regulatory agencies to come up with what we did.
Yeah, that's great. Well, you're used to that environment, right? So the context of you doing this is you're used to that environment as a contractor and as somebody that, basically is put together successful development after development. And, I applaud you because this is what we need. I mean, this is you see a problem, right, folks? You have to see a problem but see a problem that people need fixed. That's number one.
Yeah.
And then go out there and try to fix that problem, but make sure it's a problem also that not people don't only want, but it's a lot of people that want it. And you have to do it and be able to give it at a price that is palatable. And then hopefully for you and your business and the viability of the entire thing is it scalable, but also can you make money at doing it, and are your margins going to be healthy? And we won't go into that today, but I've got a couple other questions for you, Mitch. But before we do that, how do people reach out to you if they want to learn more about prep?
We have a website. It's prepatl.com. That's prepatl.com. We can also be reached at 404-920-4150.
Great.
And
super. Well, Mitch, in the construct of what you're doing, so as I called it earlier, which I'm sure just bastardizes what you guys do, but shared office
so far,
space.
You're batting 1,000. You're fine. Thank you.
So shared office space / accelerator for food service companies. Okay. So as you do that, you're getting a chance to see all types of entrepreneurs. What simple advice can you offer our listeners?
Sure. First of all, do your homework. Be methodical. Do your homework. Write a business plan, and go out there and talk to the people who will buy your product before you start committing to a new lifestyle or to committing to a facility, whether it be my facility or your own facility. Before you start laying out all that capital, get out there and really answer all the questions. Sometimes you're not going to hear the answers that you want, but it might change how you construct your own business plan.
Yeah.
We've had plenty of businesses come here that are completely buttoned up, but we also have some that change on the fly after a lot of interaction with us, and it makes them a more profitable, more focused business. The more that you can do up front while you're not blowing money, the better. The last one for sure is don't go into anything undercapitalized.
Yeah.
It just creates so much strain from the beginning. Recognize the amount of capital that you need to do your business and then put a layer on top.
First and foremost, evaluate.
Yeah.
We preach that here.
And I love what you said there. And you can't have a completely rigged game, okay? But we like a rigged game. And what you said is you had the information. You had people that were willing to give you money for the problem that you were solving long before you solved the problem. And, at least at a minimum, evaluate as much as possible. And look, friends and family are good evaluators, but that is not the only level of evaluation that we want you to undergo. And Mitch didn't say that. I said that, but I'm sure Mitch would agree.
Yeah. I do. I do. There's a common theme amongst the successful entrepreneurs that in the food industry, and I guess it would apply to most entrepreneurs. Number one, you can't be afraid of the hard work. You can't be afraid of working half days, 6 days a week. Remember, 24 hours a day.
That's right. Half days, 12 hours a day. Right.
Right.
Very
all
common.
that stuff. But understand your market, and I forgot one thing. Understand your cost of goods. Mm-hmm. Don't fool yourself on the cost of goods. Really do some research on what your cost of goods is.
Yeah, it's good. Hey, real quick, and I mean real quick, what's the worst mistake that you ever made as an entrepreneur? I told you I was going to ask you that.
Yeah. I went into a business purely for family reasons. So it sounds altruistic.
Sorry, I'm laughing with you.
Many years ago. And it was like lighting money on fire in a trash can. And I learned a lesson. I would have done better just writing checks to my family instead of because the idea was not vetted. It was more about the passion of helping the family.
Yeah, no,
and it was it's hard for me to say that honestly.
Well, that's why we that's why we ask this question, because we have our failures. Les and I do. We've got an abundance of them.
Well, honestly, if that's the worst mistake you've made, then that's pretty good.
Well, it's noble, but I'm sure it hurt.
It was noble, and it really was like a 2x4 to the head. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I get it. But, hey, Mitch, thanks for being on the show, buddy. I really appreciate it. Folks, if you got anything, out of what Mitch said today, and I got a lot, just get this: it's okay to go after the rigged game. And, on this show, what we do is we encourage people to step out of the shadows, step into the light, get your opportunity in the sun as an entrepreneur. But we want you to do it with competence, and we want you to do it with confidence. Feel free to go and assess your ideas completely for free at ideashares.com and through the Ideasphere. I want to thank Mitch Jaffe for being on the show. Thank my buddy Les for another great show here. Thank you, Craig, our engineer. Folks, we'll see you, or you'll hear us, next week on Ideashares Radio.